What is good, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. The movie I'm reviewing today is currently available for streaming on AMC+. I'm gonna go over the movie and I'll let you know, there will be spoilers at the end, but I'll give full warning before that. I do have to go over some spoilers just so I can kind of express why I like this movie so much. I kind of have to go into detail, but I'll do that at the end, give you full disclosure. White Reindeer is written, directed, and edited by Zach Clark and stars Anna Margaret Hollyman. Guys, this was a surprise and a half to me. So I was looking up like weird, like not weird movies, but I was like, what's some unknown Christmas movies that have gotten like a lot of praise? So I ran across this movie. It said dark comedy, absolute Christmas movie, takes place during the month of December. So no arguments there. All the Christmas bells and whistles are there. Like perfect. It's 82 minutes. I'm definitely watching that. I did not expect to get one of my, this is easily a favorite Christmas movie of mine. So it is a dark comedy. For those of you who don't know, but like when I say dark comedy, you kind of have to have a very open sense of humor, kind of a dark and twisted sense of humor. And it takes, a dark comedy I basically describe as something that takes a relative serious subject matter and doesn't make light of it, but finds humor in it. It's like almost like a coping mechanism, where if you ever heard the phrase, you laugh so you don't cry, that type of thing. So Suzanne, so before I get into it, I'm sorry. So full disclosure, this is not going to be for everyone, okay? Now, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm gonna watch this every year. I'm probably gonna watch this again before Christmas. And this is not a Christmas movie to watch with your family, by the way. No go. This is one to watch. If you're lucky enough in your life to have someone that also has kind of a weird sense of humor like you, if you kind of have like an oddball relationship, husband, whatever, you know, watch this, you'll enjoy it thoroughly. But again, not for everybody. This is gonna be one of my more explicit reviews. I'm gonna go into some details about things that people might not find comfortable, which is fair. I don't judge. Everybody's got a different sense of humor. Everybody likes different things, finds different things funny. It's all subjective, so no judgment. But it is something I thoroughly found funny on a lot of levels. So I'll get into the movie. I'll tell you what I like. One thing I kind of was on, and then we'll get into some spoilers. So the movie is about Suzanne, who is a real estate agent in the suburbs of Virginia. It takes place around 2013. That's when it was filmed, so I assume it takes place around the same time. At least it looks like it. So Suzanne suffers a personal tragedy in her life, which, you know, during the holiday season is not easy, you know. Dealing with loss, dealing with loneliness. The holiday season brings on a lot of emotions. You know, it's the end of the year. Did I have a good year? Do I have any regrets, things I didn't get done, etc., so forth and so on. And especially if you have a tragedy that happens to you, you know, something that hits home, that makes you sad, that's a setback in your life that, you know, and how you cope. And this movie is about how Suzanne copes with what happened. And she's not grieving it's a very unconventional type of grieving, but one I think that people can relate to. You know, you might not cry, you might not feel those emotions, but you do things that you normally wouldn't do, and you start to kind of live life a little bit. Now, the movie does it in a very twisted and odd fashion, kind of depending on your, you know, perspective, but she does things that she would probably never do. Well, it's during, if you look at the poster I put up, you can probably guess one of the things that she gets into. You know, it's appropriate that it's Christmas time and she dabbles in, you know, the drug of choice that she gets into is quite appropriate. And it just makes sense. It's Christmas and, you know, all that. She makes some very unconventional friends that she probably wouldn't normally have. And like, it has little moments in there where there's a funeral. And this is this is something I can say where it's not spoiling anything, where like the priest, the father, whatever you would call him, is going over the eulogy. And there's like a screeching in the mic. I'm like, that would happen. That's hilarious. And nobody would say anything. I would be the one looking around like, am I not allowed to laugh? Like, just little oddities, stuff like that. That's just a little thing, but I'm gonna get, it's so, and it takes like, she's a real estate agent, she sells a house to this couple that you think is totally white bread, you know, conventional, traditional couple, and they are anything but. They are the exact opposite of that, and it's hilarious. And all these shenanigans she gets into, the places she goes, the people she meets, it's so much, it's so fun, it's so funny. And again, it's a little bit twisted, a little bit dark, so you do have to like that type of movie. So I'll describe some movies that are kind of similar. It's kind of its own thing, but I'll kind of give some movies that are similar just to see if it's something you might want to watch. And then I'm gonna get into things I like, which is gonna involve some spoilers. So if you guys know the Coen brothers, they're kind of the masters of dark comedies. Now, this isn't at the level of them. This is kind of like what I would describe as if the Coen brothers were to make a low budget Christmas movie, this is kind of what it would be like, being John Malkovich. Fight Club, but of a different, you know, ilk. It's hard to describe. So those types, there's a movie called The Lobster where, that I saw in Arizona. I'll just go over that briefly. It's this world where if you're single, you have to go to this adult camp, basically, and if you don't find a mate within 60 days, they turn you into an animal. It's weird. So just to describe it, so I am gonna go over spoilers now going forward. Going forward, there's gonna be spoilers. I just wanna give everybody a forewarning before you, so go watch the movie, come back and watch the spoilers if what I've said interests you so far. So the tragedy that Suzanne suffers is her husband is a meteorologist. He gets a job opportunity in Hawaii. However, there are these murders that are happening in town, break-ins, and he is the victim of one. So she loses her husband very early on in the movie. And so she is in it. It's a beginning, you know, it's right after Thanksgiving, start of December, right before the holidays. She just had this whole new life planned out, moving to Hawaii, all this stuff. And then this happens. So she starts to find that, so she splurges, she buys clothes for herself. She does that. So she does a lot of shopping and coping in that way. But then she finds out that her husband was into a stripper. And instead of being upset by this, she goes and basically befriends the stripper. She becomes like her best friend, and they hit it off so perfectly. It's like they're pals, even though her husband was not being, depending on your point of view, I guess he's being unfaithful. He's lusting over another woman, but it's just funny in the way it's presented. And the funeral, you know, all the people that come to the funeral, you have the people that are overly sympathetic and you can tell it's fake. And then you have the people who are more sad than you that didn't even know the person on your level. And the way the movie does it is so deadpan. It's like Monty Python-ish. I'm not saying it's Monty Python anyway, but it's of that deadpan type of humor. She starts partying with the other strippers. As I mentioned, it's Christmas time and she dabbles in that. She starts partying and she doesn't really know how to deal with her emotions. She just wants to be around people and she feels comfort in these people. Now, she does have certain trigger points. She is sad. It's not like she's not sad. It's not like she's not grieving. She's going through it, but this is how she's going through it. She looks up her husband's internet history, and naturally she finds what type of porn he watches. So that's awkward, but and then she sits down and watches it. Again, to me, that was hilarious. And she goes to the strip club. So the neighbors that she sold the house to, there's so many funny scenes with them because they seem like these repressed people, very traditional. You know, they probably do it missionary. You know, they probably with the lights off, all that. You know, very boring type life. But it's the opposite. She goes over to the house one day to borrow a vacuum, and they got their sex swing in the background, and the interaction is just. It's hard to describe this. You have to watch it. They have she goes over, when she turns the vacuum, they're having a housewarming party. And they're like, oh yeah, it's this Sunday or whatever. They give her an invite and it's like a sex party. Totally, and it's just out of place, but it's not out of place. You know, it's just funny. I know I'm probably not even doing it justice. And my review here is going to be like a third of the length of the movie. But it was so much fun. I really like this movie. I can't really recommend it enough. If, like I said, if you're lucky enough to have someone in your life that you can watch this movie with, like a sick kind of, it's not even sick, I would say, but it's kind of like a dark sense of humor. You have to be able to tap into your dark side, you know. Watch it with your husband, your wife, whatever, if you're those types of people. If you want something new, something that's gonna throw you for a loop, if you wanna break from the traditional holiday movies, this is absolutely a Christmas movie, by the way. It has all the bells and whistles of that, so no questions. So if you want something different, absolutely recommend White Reindeer. This is a staple for me going forward. I'm gonna probably, again, I said, I'm probably gonna watch it again before Christmas. On my only little ding on the movie, I do have one slight negative. The ending was a little bit but like, as somebody who's tried to write their own like stories and screenplay, and I'm storyboard out my movie, the ending is really hard. The second act is probably the hardest for me. The beginning, fairly easy. Second act's hard, but sticking that landing at the ending to make it satisfying, to make everything that happened before justified and make sense. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. It didn't ruin the movie at all for me. I still absolutely enjoy it. I still rewatch it. Again, I'm going on too long. Again, I'm probably about a third of the, my review right now is what, we're 11 minutes in, and the movie's 82 minutes, so. But guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you for taking a few minutes out to spend with me. I will see y'all again soon. Please take care, be well.